that big. So is that what there is of money for this big task of making a transition for European industries? Is that also funding for the Circular Economy Act, which we expect a lot from the Commission? So that should be the questions on this. And then my last question is about the rule of law. You mentioned it in a headline, and I was happy that it was one of the first things you actually came up with. And I just want to hear as well about the democratic involvement of NGOs, civil society. If that is part of your understanding of also the rule of law, we see the space for civil society shrinking in many member states. So is that also present in the MFF? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Rasmus Andresen, also from the Greens. Please.
Yes, thank you so much. Also from my side, I have one question which goes on the social polarization in our societies, because I really think that we need to ensure that the MFF at the end delivers also for ordinary people, and I would like to get a better understanding of the minimum share for social objectives you are proposing, as I understand, and especially now, and you had been quite explicit about it, now where the ETS 2 had been left out on how the Social Climate Fund will be financed in the future. And thirdly, on the issue on the corporate levy. First of all, despite other groups here in the House, the Greens think that also the corporate sector, the big business, so the bigger part of the sector can pay a bit more and can also contribute a bit more to the budget. But what I would like to understand is the design of it, meaning who will pay this levy at the end, or who will be included in that, and more explicitly, what about the big tech companies who have a legal presence in the EU? Will they be part of the design and calculated into it or not? And or are we sending the message to our companies that the European companies have to pay more, but big business, big tech, the big tech companies will be let out? So if you could provide a little bit more details on this, then I would at least become a little bit more glad than what I am now.
Thank you. Next is for the left, Mr. João Oliveira.
Obrigado, Presidente. I'll speak in Portuguese. Sr. Comissário, acompanhamos as críticas que já foram feitas sobre a forma pouco transparente e pouco cooperante como foi preparada esta proposta de orçamento plurianual e a falta de informação que era preciso ter chegado ao Parlamento atempadamente. A proposta que nos apresenta ainda assim suscita-nos algumas preocupações, destacarei 5 delas. Primeiro, trata-se de uma proposta orientada para as prioridades do militarismo e pelos interesses dos grupos económicos e das multinacionais, incluindo o complexo industrial militar. Esses objetivos contam com avultadas verbas específicas, mas também com verbas que serão retiradas a outros, praticamente a todos os outros programas para serem destinados a esses fins do militarismo. Em segundo lugar, trata-se de uma proposta sem uma opção clara de resposta aos problemas sociais e económicos que afligem os povos, que não dá prioridade à coesão, à elevação dos salários e das condições de vida, ao combate à pobreza, à resposta à crise da habitação. A reestruturação de programas e fundos confirma esse desprezo. Em terceiro lugar, trata-se de uma proposta de um orçamento desenhado para ser comandado pela Comissão e para servir como instrumento para mais imposições e condicionamentos aos Estados, em vez de apoiar o desenvolvimento nacional e corrigir as assimetrias de desenvolvimento. Os planos nacionais e regionais, a utilização de mecanismos do MRR ou o princípio do pagamento pela reforma apontam todos nesse sentido. Quarto lugar, trata-se de uma proposta que usa a simplificação como uma cortina de fumo para reduzir o número de programas e fundos, não para simplificar o acesso aos fundos, mas para concentrar mais poderes na Comissão, para acentuar o desvio de fundos para gastos militares e obrigar os Estados a ter que escolher entre a coesão ou a agricultura. Por fim, trata-se de uma proposta de orçamento cujo suporte de financiamento contraria a função redistributiva do orçamento e aponta para impactos ainda mais desiguais sobre os Estados-membros. Os exemplos das contribuições sobre o tabaco ou sobre os resíduos eletrónicos mostram que países menos desenvolvidos e com economias mais débeis poderão vir a ser obrigados a suportar contribuições maiores do que países mais desenvolvidos e com economias mais robustas. Senhor Comissário, isto é um orçamento completamente virado ao contrário em relação às prioridades que os povos verdadeiramente necessitam que sejam tidas em conta.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Alexander Jongbloed, ESN, for 4 minutes as he speaks on both files. Please.
Ja, vielen Dank, Herr Vorsitzender. Herr Kommissar, ich muss Ihnen gestehen, ich bin eigentlich relativ zufrieden mit der heutigen Debatte, nämlich große Teile hier dieses Parlaments möchten ja immer, dass dieser Haushalt aufgebläht wird, dass wir immer mehr Macht als EU bekommen. Das wollen wir als ESN ja nicht, sondern wir wollen ja eine Entschlackung des Haushalts, wir wollen ja Kompetenzen bei den Nationalstaaten. Und die heutige Debatte zeigt uns vor allem eins. Sie wollen alle einen größeren Haushalt. Und das Chaos, was Sie hier heute repräsentieren, Herr Kommissar, zeigt eigentlich die Uneinigkeit in der Kommission, auch die Uneinigkeit der Kommission in Abstimmung mit dem Rat, dass man eben nicht weiß, wo diese Mittel herkommen sollen. Und das ist am heutigen Tag doch eine wirklich gute Nachricht, die wir hier vernehmen können. Und vor dem Hintergrund ist auch ganz interessant, Sie haben uns wahrscheinlich keine Zahlen gezeigt, weil Sie uns keine vernünftigen Zahlen zeigen können. Wir haben irgendwelche Prozentzahlen gesehen. Absolut kann ich überhaupt nicht beurteilen, ob das, was Sie uns hier vorgeschlagen haben, irgendwie überhaupt tragfähig ist, den EU-Haushalt mittelfristig stützen zu können. Sie haben vielleicht auch als erste Frage, Sie haben gesagt, bei der Unternehmenssteuer soll grundsätzlich etwas geändert werden. Da würde ich Sie mal fragen, was Sie da ändern wollen. Dann haben Sie ja 2 ganz große Würfe hier aufgezeigt. Das ist einmal die Tabakindustrie soll besteuert werden, Elektroschrott soll besteuert werden. Also wenn das die großen Ziele sind, die wir als EU haben, um irgendwas zu richten, dann bin ich sehr optimistisch, dass das nicht funktionieren wird. Aber mich würde dann auch mal interessieren, warum wählen Sie eigentlich diese Industrien? Also mein erster Gedanke ist, Sie suchen sich Branchen aus, die in der Bevölkerung wahrscheinlich relativ unbeliebt sind, wo die keine große Lobby haben. Und da sagt man, na gut, dann besteuern wir mal Tabak, dann besteuern wir mal Elektroschrott. Das ist das, was die Bevölkerung mitgeht. Das klingt gut. Am Ende ist es nicht tragfähig und es ist wahrscheinlich auch nicht gerechtfertigt. Nämlich ist es nicht gerechtfertigt, dass wir uns einfach einzelne Branchen einfach so raussuchen und die dann nur aus dem Grund wählen, weil wir glauben, dass der Gegenwind bei diesen Branchen möglichst gering ist. Also würde mich mal interessieren, warum haben Sie ausgerechnet diese Branchen herausgepickt? Dann als nächstes, Sie haben erzählt, dass die Krisenmittel auf ungefähr 400 Milliarden aufgestockt werden sollen und es auch eine enge Abstimmung mit dem Europäischen Rat geben soll. Da würde mich mal interessieren, wie genau diese Abstimmung am Ende aussehen soll. Und genau, am Ende sind wir zuversichtlich. Wir möchten auch an die Kritik an dieser Stelle noch mal äußern. Es ist wirklich eine absolute Ablehnung des Parlaments, die seitens der Kommission gezeigt wird, dass eben Nachrichten erst an die Presse gegeben werden, dass wir wirklich hier Informationen erhalten, die wirklich, das ist ein Witz, was wir hier bekommen haben. Das möchte ich mal in dieser Form sagen. Also ich bin kein Deutsch schlauer geworden. Ich möchte eigentlich von der Kommission innerhalb der nächsten Tage gerne einen Bericht sehen, in dem uns vorgestellt wird, was sind die absoluten Zahlen, was sind die Zahlen, mit denen wir rechnen können bei der mittelfristigen Finanzplanung, weil diese Diskussion, die wir heute führen, die führt eigentlich zu nichts, weil wir eben überhaupt gar keine Grundlage haben, eine vernünftige Diskussion zu führen und dass wir dafür überhaupt eine Sitzung heute einberufen haben, dass wir diese Rederunde hier entwerfen, ohne dass wir irgendetwas Konkretes haben, auf das wir dann eine Diskussionsbasis aufbauen können. Das ist eigentlich, muss ich ganz ehrlich sagen, es ist erbärmlich, was wir hier heute machen.
Thank you. I pass the floor now to Nicolas Helbst, the co-chair. Please, also for 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. There's a lot to say, especially from the control point of view. Commission pretends to still act under shared management. But responsibility is shifting completely to the member states under the financing not linked to cost model. And I'm specifically concerned that the proposal will be a step back in terms of protection of EU financial interest, especially when I see at the so far only leaked regulation. In Article 52.4, you state that the audit authority, and I quote, the audit authority is not expected to verify the underlying costs of the operations for the purpose of its audit work. That would mean that your proposal means that EU funds will be less strictly audited than the national funds. And I don't think that the taxpayer should be less protected on European level than on national level. And really, I have to say that discharge right and the control right of the European Parliament is something that we really fought for, and we should not give it away that easy.
Thank you. Commissioner, I think there are a few questions and remarks to be answered. Please.
Thank you. Let's start maybe with points of order. So I noticed that a disappointment that I didn't come here with the package of the documents that have been adopted just adopted by the college. I think when I came here, they were still not published. I really immediately left the college room to join you and to be with you and to tell you firsthand what was discussed at the college and what we have approved as the College of Commissioners. Maybe by now they are published, that I'm not sure, I didn't check. And then also I need to say that when it comes to the sequence of presentation, I believe that we have started the presentation and I have finished my presentation before the President von der Leyen started her press conference. And I think also this is an obligation of the Commission to communicate with you, but also with the public. So that's the 2 points of order that I would like to make. Now, let me start with the own resources. There was a number of questions in relation to the own resources from many angles, and it's true. I have never been hiding the fact that it's not going to be easy to build a package which, yes, on the one hand is going to provide sufficient revenues that would allow us to cover not only NGEU debt, but also to contribute to financing of the new priorities, new challenges that we have. I have never been hiding that fact. On the details, because I think there were, you were asking also about more details. Tobacco. On tobacco, we are in a situation in which some new products are on the market. There is no common harmonized rules at the European level. If we talk about e-liquids, liquids for liquid, I don't know how it's in English, but vapoter, on vapote. If we talk about also new products, there are no harmonized rules at the EU level. And I know that my colleague, Wubke Hoekstra, he is asked even by the member states. 16 finance ministers have approached the Commission, asking the Commission to table a proposal on harmonization of taxation for tobacco, including those new products. So that is going to be the starting point. We are the proposal of Hoekstra on the tobacco products. And we assume that 15% of the revenues from tobacco excise duty of EU member states could become a new own resource. It will be applied on country-specific minimum rate for manufactured tobacco and tobacco-related products. Core. So on core, corporate resource for Europe, here the challenge was in and of course, it is also, we're talking about the companies operating and selling in the European Union. So this was one of the questions, whether also the companies that are not registered in the EU, they will be covered or not. So that's about core. On CBAM, I have mentioned already that we have calculated the revenue based on the current scope of CBAM, but as you know, also the discussion is ongoing on the extension of the scope of CBAM. And what I would like to say also in the context of revenues of the budget, we will be certainly looking also into the fees. There was a question on parcels. I think tomorrow there is a trilogue. Also, the position of the Commission in view of this package adopted today will be presented also during this trilogue. But we are also working, and I think it is reflected in the documents adopted by the College. We are also working on ETIAS, so on the, let's say, a fee for people from outside of Europe that want to visit our beautiful continent, European Union. So, and I'm sure it's not that debate will go on, because as you can see, the new own resources package plays absolutely critical role in delivering on the next MFF and on the common ambitions that we have. There were questions also on the national and regional partnership plans. Their structure, I think it's what I didn't mention at the beginning, but I should have mentioned. Indeed, we have, as part of that package, we also have a separate legal basis for the agriculture, for the common agriculture policy, for European Social Fund, for regional and cohesion funds, for fisheries, and also for justice and home affairs part. So this is one of the key concerns and demands flowing also from the European Parliament. And when it comes to the financing, I think I have mentioned ESF, so that it's earmarking. It's a target. It's a target. It's a target of minimum 14%. That could be translated to around 100 billion euros. I'm not sure if I have mentioned that, but that's how it could be translated, to around 100 billion euros. And when it comes to, well, I mean, there is this strong argument that it is about renationalization. I think this is debatable, to be frank, at this point, because we really need to find the right balance between the flexibility on the one hand, flexibility which is also needed at the national level, at the regional level, and setting a framework together at the European level. One thing which is clear is that we need to provide for the funds have to be spent on the European priorities. That should not be questioned, and that would be also strengthened, that dimension, by the steering mechanism to which I was referring in my opening remarks. But then also the whole framework I was sharing with you, ring fencing for our farmers. Ring fencing, what is the logic of ring fencing? In the current common agriculture policy, we have the first pillar, direct payments for our farmers. We have the second pillar, which is a mix of tools and instruments that constitute an income of farmers, and also tools which are more linked with the development of the rural areas. So everything which is about farmers' income, be it in the first pillar, be it in the second pillar, it will be ring-fenced. It will be guaranteed, also in the future MFF, that the incomes of farmers will be guaranteed. This is exactly the same logic when it comes to our fishermen. It also, everything which is about the direct income that our fishermen receive now is going to be ring-fenced and guaranteed in the future MFF. And the purpose is exactly that, to avoid uncertainty, to avoid unpredictability, because we know how important it is for farmers, for fishermen, to rely on the direct payments and other direct income support which flows from the EU budget. The same logic of finding the right balance between the flexibility but also providing predictability is behind the ring fencing of the resources for the less developed regions. I have mentioned the amount. It's 218 or 16? 18. 218 billion euros. That is the amount guaranteed for the less developed regions, which, as we all know, are at the core of the cohesion policy, and they should remain at the core of the cohesion policy, because the purpose of the cohesion policy is first and foremost the convergence. And the legal basis, and that I have said so. Legal base, which I also believe is important for all the policies I have mentioned, that will be financed through the national regional partnership plans. But in particular, I know also for this House, because once you have a legal base, I think you will also have an opportunity to engage various committees and various sectorial committees into the debate about the future of the policies we are talking about. Defence in space. I was also, this was present in one of the questions, that I was not precise enough. So I will try to be more precise. Defence and space, that is a separate window in the Competitiveness Fund. And in that window, we are going to have a bit more than 130 billion euros for defence and space, but also, let's be frank and let's be honest, many of the projects that we have on mind that are related to space, they are also about increasing our security. We talked about it a week ago. I was talking about the European Starlink, Iris Square, that is going to be financed through this window. That is, of course, about communication, but it is also about our security, and we have witnessed that just a few months ago in the context of the war of Ukraine. The same refers to another satellite-related project, which is about the satellite surveillance system, where we are finalizing right now the scoping exercise on how that project should look like. So 130 billion euro in the Competitiveness Fund in this window, defence and space. That is the increase by the factor of 5. Then the second source of financing for defence is Connecting Europe facility. In Connecting Europe facility, we have right now for so-called military mobility. We all know what it is. It is about dual-use infrastructure. We also know that in the last few weeks, netted out a very nature. There are own resources that are disliked by another group of member states, and I think that in that group you will find those who don't like core. But the proposal that we put on the table has to be balanced. It cannot be only about poorer member countries, or it cannot be only about the consumers and households. It needs to have also to balance a dimension of corporate sector and the dimension of more affluent member states. This is the logic behind the own resources proposal. On the question of the digital tax and other potential ideas, yes, they are not part of the package, but I will not forget that we have already a reflection on this issue, and I think that for sure we have still some time before the negotiations are over. We will continue to analyze, as I told you at the very beginning, we will continue to analyze other potential options, and if we will find a good workable solution, we will not hesitate to complement the package presented today with those other options. On Ukraine and rebuilding of Ukraine, yes, but please keep on mind, it doesn't say anything about the Russian frozen assets. Please keep on mind that we are talking here about a proposal that, if I hope it will be the case, will enter into force in 2028. I believe, this is my guess at this point, that the question of the immobilized assets might be on the table well before that date. Also because I know that in this year we have in the EU budget G7 loan for Ukraine. We have also quite a lot when it comes to Ukraine facility, but I know that it will be less in the next year budget, and it will be much, much less in the 2027. So the issue of Ukraine financing might be on the table even before the new MFF enters into force. And this mechanism is up to 100 billion euros. We are not able to predict right now what will be the financial needs when it comes to the reconstruction of Ukraine. There was also a question of enlargement. So here I would like to stress, yes, we have enlargement, the Europe window in the enlargement geography, that's how we call it, not window, in the global Europe. It provides for an increase of around 40%. And here, when it comes to enlargement, Ukraine is treated on par with other pre-accession countries. But these are, we can say, predictable expenses, pre-accession assistance. Reconstruction, that's why reserve. Reconstruction, there is a lot of unpredictability around this category, but we have to be ready for that, because we know it is one of the challenges which is in front of us. Yes. Local stakeholders and regional authorities. I think that I know that tomorrow Raffaele Fitto will have the presentation on the, at least that's what he told me. Maybe, I hope nothing has changed. We'll have the presentation on during the Regi committee. And it was very important for him to